If we consider the whole street as a lively symphony that mesmerizes people with its rapidly rhythm, then the house would be a rest, creating that small but soulful gap, just enough for people to drown into the life's melody. Maison T and its garden stand humbly amidst the dense Hanoi street. Instead of using all the land or keeping an indoor courtyard space, the house is set back from the street to offer the whole alley a green space with plantings and creepers growing on brick walls. The front gate used alternating brickwork as its form, which created a sparse fence separating the house from the street while sharing the green space with its neighbors. A small but precious breathing gap in Vietnam Hanoi that is very abstract of Maison T. I am Nghia-Architect, founder of BEA+, and I am going to talk about my personal thoughts about Maison T. The client wanted a dog-friendly home, and so it must have a garden for both to enjoy nature. Based on the client's needs and site location, the architect offered a free-form design, eliminating the typical functional boundaries one would find in a house. The plan area is only 40 sqm. Inside, the whole space is connected even when there are no walls to fix the functions for any space. Light and ventilations are brought into the house in general and particularly for each space. In the garden, Nghia-Architects used a tree as a satellite element, which stands between the main mass and the outdoor space, and serves the purpose of establishing human scale. Because humans have taken the tree from nature as a scale close to their own dimensions. When the dimensions of a building exceed those of a tree, it has always faced an adaptation problem. Another purpose is that, since the whole outer surface of the satellite element is associated with the outdoor spaces, it can nourish and enliven these outer spaces by letting the activities it embodies flood into these spaces. In the garden, firstly we face with pine wooden door that to introduce warmth and to soften space, and feature bricks that were selected at the garden to again bring in warmth and richness in texture. Brick is one of the most traditional and universal building materials in the world and Vietnam. In some ways, a brick represents the archetypal house, a symbol of protection and stability. Although brick is utilitarian, it is bound up in histories and cultures in a way that prevents it from becoming ordinary. Accompanying these two materials, the micro-concrete floor creates a richness of texture in this area and creates a balancing contrast to the warm wood and brick colors in color and reflective surfaces. In the interior side, we face with exposed concrete-dominated spaces. However, Nghia-Architects use plywood as a mold to give concrete more texture, because of preventing these spaces become characterless and too cold due to the weak textural effect of concrete. Moreover, wooden and metal stair accompanying these exposed concrete spaces to add visual interest and depth. Also, we can say that reused wood furnitures increase texture in these spaces. Moreover, in the mezzanine floor, instead of walls, green curtains used as both separator and light control material. These curtains both harmonical with color and texture of the exposed concrete ceiling and floor. In general, we can say that the architect chose natural and rustic materials for the house to bring the close and comfortable feelings, and rich in texture but cold in atmosphere, even though the details are carefully designed and processed to ensure the finishing needed for a quality living space. This space has some problems in front facade and its interior, I think. That two small windows disrupts the proportions of the front facade. Also, the mezzanine behind that windows are staying as undefined space because there is no connection between other spaces and hard to reach space in the house. Moreover, the landing behind this window intersected with the frame because the height of the landing was not clear, resulting in a bad detail. The reason for these problems with this building is that the design of the facade is created with very obvious details. If instead the obvious was removed and the meaningful was put in, a more surprising design could have emerged that would have led people to make active observations, just like Paulo Mendes da Rocha's Casa Butanta. Considering all its features, the biggest feature that attracted me to this project was material selections for use in the home that tend to be rough, brutalism, to create a sense of closeness and comfort in use. Also, light and ventilation are therefore flooded into a common and separate hole for each functional space used. Environmental comfort is one of the aspects that contribute to the good performance of architecture. In the project, the incidence of natural lighting and ventilation is often highlighted as advantageous characteristics that add to the aesthetics and functioning of the program. In this way, this house is separated from the ordinary houses in Hanoi and becomes a breathing space. This is a design achievement that should be appreciated in this characterless concrete city.